morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to go and have a look at a brand new product which has gone and been revealed over in Japan that is a brand new product, but might not actually be that much of a brand new product. We all following? Excellent. So basically what's gone and been revealed is the Battle Academy, the Scarlet and Violet Anytime, Anywhere Battle Academy. Now, this is very, very interesting because we actually saw a Battle Academy trademark a little while ago. And I told you that it was likely to be a set. We saw this back in June, incidentally. But I also told you that there was a decent chance that it could be something else. It didn't seem to match with the other things that were being revealed around the same time. Like, we got this trademark dropped in... Well, when did it actually come out? When did it finally get dropped, this Battle Academy trademark? June. It was dropped in June. And that was a while back at this stage. And there was no guarantee that it was a set. There was no guarantee that it wasn't. It could have been basically anything. Well, now we have a little bit of information, and it seems like it was, in fact, not a set. It seems like it was actually the successor to the family decks that we saw over in Japan. Now, there were two of these, which I'm going to call the Family Deck 1 and Family Deck 2. Yes, I know, not terribly original, but actually that does kind of make sense. And these are going to look a little bit familiar. Because these are, I mean, if you look at the boxes, they're extremely similar to the Battle Academy that I've been suggesting for a while is actually a decent thing to get if you are looking to learn to play the Pokemon trading card game, because it is basically the Pokemon TCG reimagined as a board game. It's a very cool product and one that I've been recommending for a while because, well, as previously mentioned, it's a very cool product. But the Japanese and English versions both have Pikachu and Charizard on the front, and then they both have Pikachu and Score Bunny on the front. Now, they were not exactly the same in Japan and over here. That was not exactly the same. There were a few differences between them. I mean, for instance, the second family deck over in Japan had a bunch of EXs in, including ones like, for instance, Greninja and Lucario, that actually made their way over here in sets. These were special Pokemon V that, in Japan, they were lovely kind of promos, I suppose. They were in these sets anyway, whereas over here, we just got them in sets. So Greninja V ended up in Fusion Strike, and Lucario V, for instance, ended up in Fusion Strike. And actually, not everybody was terribly happy about this, because Fusion Strike ended up being the biggest set ever at the time. And it ended up with a bunch of these Pokemon Vs that were kind of, well, they were clearly filler. But they were kind of supposed to be filler. That was the point. The whole point of putting them in the family deck, the whole point of the family deck is that these are supposed to be good for learning how to play the game. These are supposed to be very useful and lovely if you're learning to play the game. These are supposed to be simple. They're designed to be simple. Like Greninja's got flip-free coins, 80 damage for each heads. That was, for the family deck, pretty complicated, honestly. That was about as high as it got, where, you know, Lucario was just free energy 120. And it was pretty terrible, honestly. But that was kind of the point. The point was they were supposed to be new, and they were supposed to be simple, and they were supposed to help people to actually learn to play the game. That was how they were designed. That's what they were supposed to do. We saw a bunch of others actually come around in Hidden Fates, like the Mewtwo, for instance, or Pinsir, and you've got to feel a little bit sad for Pinsir here. These were from, obviously, the Family Deck 1, because we're going back in time. You know, Pinsir GX is actually the only one of these kind of chase special, call it what you will, cards that Pinsir ever got. It was just flat out garbage, which was really sad. Or we could say the same thing about Wigglytuff. Although, to be fair, Wigglytuff did get an EX in 151. Only the second time Wigglytuff had ever got something like this. And at least the Wigglytuff in 151, you know, if it's got a special energy, it's got 250 HP. It's a decent one. They even gave it a full art as well. It was almost like an apology. Incidentally, Pinsir in 151 did not get the apology, so Pinsir remains just terrible. And it's a little bit sad. Like, Pinsir's a cool Pokemon. There are people out there whose favourite Pokemon is Pinsir. And they end up finally getting a chase card, a Pokemon V, and it's just flat out terrible. And then we're like years on at this point, and there's still not been another one since. It's a little bit cruel. Like I say, they did do Wigglytuff a solid and chuck it into 151. So they had a bunch of these Pokemon V in there, and there were a bunch. But, you know, I chucked a whole bunch of them. I put them all into one video because it wasn't good. It wasn't exciting. It wasn't particularly relevant. They were the very definition of meh, I think is probably a good way to put it. But that was the way they were designed. We had these two family decks. They had a bunch of Pokemon Vs in, but they were very much designed to be very simple, learn to play the game. And we got them as the Battle Academy. Now, we didn't get them exactly like Japan did. We got them a little bit differently. They were the same basic concept in that you had these decks that were designed to help people learn to play the game. They were very simple. For us, it really went full board game. 3 decks that didn't hit for weakness and a proper like game board, and it was very much designed to be. I mean, I've described it many times as the Pokemon trading card game reimagined as a board game, and that really is exactly what the Battle Academy was. Here's the problem. The Battle Academy is now quite out of date, to the point where I'm not sure how much I can recommend it. Like, if you want to learn to play the game in a very casual, I know how the Pokemon TCG works kind of way, then yeah, the Battle Academy remains pretty good. If, however, you want to learn how to play the game with a view to actually carry on, it's kind of out of date at this stage. Remember that with the advent of Scarlet and Violet, we moved on to Pokemon EXs. Well, they're not in either of the Battle Academy right now. And now we've got this new listing over in Japan. And it seems to be what they've basically done is done what they've always done, but change the wording to Scarlet and Violet Anytime, Anywhere Battle Academy, which from a business point of view does actually make perfect sense. To have the Battle Academy as this thing which is synonymous with learning to play the game, etc. worldwide, yeah, that's actually extremely cool, and this is the kind of thing that Pokemon tend to do. All companies tend to do. And I kind of love this. As someone who taught business for many years, I really appreciate what Pokemon are doing here. Now, all we've got is this. You ready? This is the entirety of the information we've got. Pokemon card game Scarlet and Violet Anytime, Anywhere Battle Academy release date 8th of March 2024. That's it. That is a sum total of what we've actually seen from listings over in Japan. And these are proper listings that we've seen. So these are things which are very much believable from sites that tend to list these things a little bit early, but generally work quite nicely. So yeah, looks like it's happening again. Now, the date of the 8th of March isn't particularly relevant, honestly. There's nothing particularly important going on the 8th of March. That would kind of be on an island on its own kind of thing. But I tell you what, this is going to mean a bunch of new EXs. Remember, from the first one, we took a bunch and whacked them into Hidden Fates. And from the second one, we took a bunch and whacked them into Fusion Strike, because we only put 3 into each of our Battle Academies. Japan had a lot more. So it's going to give us a bunch of new EXs, which is going to be awesome, unless they completely depart from what they've done previously, which is possible, but I would wager rather unlikely. We're probably going to get a bunch of new EXs, and that's really fun. But they're going to be new EXs like Pinsir and Lucario, which means they're going to be terrible. And here's the thing. Here's the kind of the monkey paw. Let's say there is a particular Pokemon that you like that hasn't gotten a Pokemon EX or never really gets a chase card. Remember, in the first lot of family decks, we had Pinsir and Wigglytuff. Pokemon that do not get love. Like, ever. And they actually got them. And that was awesome. but they sucked. They really did. So, what do you want? Do you want the good ones? Or do you want to just call it a day at this point? I mean, if somebody offered me a Mamoswine, but it's going to be one from the family deck, so it's going to be unplayable garbage, oh, you had better believe I want that Mamoswine. No ifs, buts, or maybes. Mamoswine, as a side note, has never had a chase card as well, which is why it makes it a good candidate. So, I mean, look, if this is the only way I get it, this is the only way I get it. Either way, this is one of those videos where we're left with a lot more questions than answers, but it seems to be coming. We're going to get a bunch of junky X's, and I just want it on the record. I'm buying it because I collect all these Japanese cards. I want the junky X's. And I'm really genuinely excited for which ones we could be getting. Nobody thought we were getting a pincer. What joy could we have this time? Let me know your predictions in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shout-outs on the channel, like the lovely Chelsea Rose, who's been a big supporter of ours for a while now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.